Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I have an incredible knife review to share with you guys. This is, I don't know if unprecedented is the right word, but it sure doesn't happen very often, if not ever. This is a budget knife, easily the most impressive budget knife of 2026, and honestly, dollar for dollar, one of the most impressive, if not the most impressive budget knives of all time. This is the Miguron Karok, or Karok, I'm not really sure how they want to pronounce it. And you might think, okay, it looks like another budget knife, and it's kind of a weird blade shape. What's really cool about this knife is, you guys know that Taylor, he'll be down in the comments, I'm sure. Taylor has been running tons, over 500 HRC tests from popular companies, Chinese companies, American companies, right? Basically providing mass transparency for this stuff so that consumers actually know how hard a lot of these companies are running these steels. Some companies like Spyderco, totally unsurprising. They're top of the game, right? And some companies were laughably low, right? There are a lot of companies like Miguron making really, really nice knives for not very much money, and they're just missing the mark by a little bit. So after conversations with myself and mostly Taylor, Miguron was convinced to increase their HRC on their D2, which many of you know is actually kind of a sleeper steel. A lot of people wave it off as like, oh, it's an old steel, whatever. D2 at appropriate hardness has absolutely phenomenal edge retention, and the nice thing is it's not very expensive to work with. So a company like Miguron, who's got every other box checked in terms of quality control, ease of manipulation, the ability to create a good ergonomic, safe, reliable knife, right? Just tweaking it so they get the HRC correct and keeping their price the same would make them gods of the territory, and today is that day. Not only did they bring us this combination of stuff, they actually packed on a whole bunch of other awesome elements, including a button-operated liner lock that, by the way, does stand up to my spine tickle test. I showed it on the unboxing. It does just fine. This D2 steel blade has been hardened to 62 to 63 confirmed by Taylor. He's actually got images and data and stuff not only on his website, which you can go see, it's linked at the bottom of my description, but also on his Instagram. He's got pictures of it having freshly tested multiple blades. This is amazing because this knife at base comes in at $37. I think it's $36. $36. Unbelievable. You also have tons of different choices for scales. You can get a titanium version of the knife, seen right here, for $60. You can change out the button. They have all these different colored buttons and things. The standard versions come in like, this is a cool, sort of anodized, speckled aluminum here. You have the cool pocket clip. You've got the cool colored backspaces. You have all these different choices between G10, aluminum, titanium, carbon fiber. They've got like the red and black carbon fiber, all between $36 and $60, with D2 blades hardened to 62 to 63. Now I understand some people might say, oh, that's too hard. What we need to pay attention to here is that this is completely and totally possible. Right? Now, I truly believe that Miguron is being stretched about as far as they possibly can. I don't think they could be making much money on these individually. Obviously, the idea is that they would sell them, in volume, which is great. This is the type of competitive behavior that will drive change in certain parts of the industry and bring consumers better products. This is that better product. Before I even start this review, this has exceeded everything that I expect from a $37 pocket knife by a lance. I mean, we are well into double price territory in terms of like what I expect the competition to bring. This is unbelievable. The epidemic of low HRC D2 has plagued the budget knife world for far too long, and finally, Miguron is willing to go, oh yeah, that's totally possible. Watch. Right? Now, not every company needs to be hitting this high. I think anything from 60 plus is perfectly acceptable, but the fact that Miguron is willing to do it and then go further beyond, to quote Goku, I guess, yeah, It's very illuminating, very cool, providing all of these really awesome features and these, scales that you can swap out. The options are amazing. It is my opinion that you should pick this knife up and support Miguron because there's a lot of change I think that needs to occur amongst a lot of companies that have just been giving us really lazy stuff for years and years and years. So hats off to Miguron. Thank you thank you to Taylor for doing the testing and for talking with Miguron and making a lot of this stuff happen, because this is really cool. And this is going to put a super capable, super reliable, awesome, fun, pocket knife that also has enthusiast elements. It's going to put this in the hands of a lot of people that otherwise would not have access to it. And that is amazing. This will be linked down in the description. You guys can check it out if you want to. Thanks to my patrons for supporting my channel. Make sure your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel. We're going to bring this one back out here in a second, and I'll show you guys some other scales here. But really, you're going to get the best idea of what all is available by taking a look at the website, which... Did I say it's linked? I probably did. It's linked in the description. Overall length of this guy coming in at 7.5 inches. Your blade length is a whopping 3.5. That's wild. 3.45. Cutting edge, 3 inches. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others. So putting it up against my compact Excalibur and my full-size Excalibur, you can see here it's about the same overall length as my compact Excalibur, which is a good EDC size. The other implication here, right, for people who are just stuck on, I don't like how the blade looks, or I don't like so, the implication here is that Miguron can now just do this with whatever they come out with, right? And not just with D2. According to Taylor, they're planning on increasing the HRC of many, if not all, of their steels. So, if not this, right, the nice thing is that Miguron has this, essentially this runway of this private little, runway where they get to take off and land as much as they please, and in the context of creating, even if it's designs we've seen before, what we haven't seen is this combination and the resulting price tag being as low as it is, right? So while this is new and exciting, and before it, I'm worried that eventually this might turn into something where companies use it as an excuse to charge more for it. But as long as Miguron stays competitive, then they remain in this special little private bubble where they can do this, and it appeals to an enormous number of people, right? Anyways, kind of a lot of different points being made there at once. It's a little convoluted. But anyways, let's put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Again, very similar to the smaller comparison here, about 1/4 inch larger than the Spyderco Para 3. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and the Hogue Deca, which is gone. No, it's right here. There we go. All right, how's the action? This is a button-operated liner lock, not top liner lock, just liner lock. The first that I'm aware of through Miguron, and I'm happy to say that it functions flawlessly. You can also access it from the front, allowing you to manipulate it the same way you would a normal liner lock, but we have that beautiful detent. The nice thing about this is that this is not a plunge lock. It is just a button-operated liner lock, right? So it has the same, weakness as any other liner lock, and that is that it depends on perfect geometry in order to make sure that it maintains, but I tell you, this is pretty good. There's a lot of liner locks out there that wouldn't have stood up to that. I'm going to be honest with you. My Hinderer knives that are titanium frame locks probably would not have stood up to that. So that's fine. That's obviously overkill. That's the whole purpose of that test, is that even as light as that is, it's very much an overkill test. But the fact that they're standing up to that and still releasing this knife for $37, $36, whatever it is kind of amazing. But yeah, push the button, it drops. You can keep your fingers out of the way, and then you get the satisfaction of actually breaking a true, it's a detent with a detent ball, so it has that good feeling. I mean, it manipulates exactly the way that you would want it to, right? Very familiar with this, but it's nice to have that combination button and liner lock there. Phenomenal. I have no complaints. It's wonderful. I even like, the button, like the way that it looks and how it seats almost flush in the closed position and then sticks up a bit in the open position, but it's fine. It looks really good. It's really nice. I like that a lot. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. A little bit thinner, actually. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. Beautifully easy knife to carry. Not my favorite pocket clip in the world, but it's pretty good. And honestly, the overall space it takes up in your pocket is very, very minimal. Let's go ahead and weigh it. So again, we're looking at D2, 62 to 63 is just wild. Wild. Cutting stuff with this, you know, doing a little bit of like some cardboard, some paper and stuff here and there. Obviously the edge did completely fine as it should, but the edge geometry in this thing is also really nice, comes down nice and thin, factory edge is nice and sharp, but this is the type of thing that's going to cut for. I mean, if you look at edge retention, you know, like just look at Laren Thomas's edge retention chart for D2 that's not even hardened as high. It's really, it's very competitive, right? The downside to D2 is it's not quite stainless, and it also can be a little bit of a pain to touch up, and especially at 62, 63, that is going to be part of the teeter-totter that we have to expect if you're newer to steel. Yes, it's great to have really good edge retention, but D2 at 62 to 63 will not be easy to sharpen. So you have to ask yourself, is that what I want, right? This is the multi-directional teeter-totter. There'll be tons of people ready to point out that, you know, this doesn't, you know, make it perfect. There's a downside. Of course there is, obviously, right? But the answer, my point is that the answer to that downside should never have been that the entire industry just heat treats D2 to 58, 59. That's bullcrap. It's awful. Obviously, one of those things is better. I would much rather have steel that's actually within its optimal parameters for a pocket knife, not a fixed blade, right? You want a 58 HRC D2 knife? Probably a fixed blade. There's plenty of better steels out there, right? The answer is not to just reduce the hardness so that it's easy to sharpen, because then you're not really gaining the benefits. The answer is learn how to sharpen, or just select a better steel that's got a better balance for you. But for D2, the answer is absolutely keep it optimal, and then it's going to be optimized for people who have that sharpening or are willing to learn about that level of sharpening, you know, buy the equipment or buy the stones or whatever, right? That is the answer. The answer is not make it softer. That's ridiculous. Anybody who says that, I'm sorry, that's just wrong. Yeah. So anyways, we have D2 steel hardened to 62-63, which again is going to be too hard for some people, and that's fine. I think we'll see a little bit of a, you know, kind of variation in there in the future. We have, in this case, aluminum. You can also get G10 or carbon fiber, and you can also get titanium. Multiple colors of titanium, including just sort of flat gray, or there's kind of like a blue jeans, right? You can get all that. And then I do have some carbon fiber here. Here's an example of the purple carbon fiber that you can get. They also have red. Really nice stuff. Really, really nice shred carbon fiber there. So we're going to weigh both the titanium and the aluminum ones here. Obviously, your carbon fiber and your G10 will weigh a little bit less, but I think everybody's going to be pretty impressed with the weight on these guys as they are. The aluminum one comes in at 3.1 ounces, which is 0.1 ounces away from ultra lightweight. And even the titanium one, not that heavy at 3.7 ounces, especially considering it's a 3.45 inch blade. The ratios on this thing are awesome. Balance on the titanium one, pretty good. A little bit back from the pivot, right about here. Balance on the aluminum is going to be closer, just right, almost right behind the pivot. And your G10 and carbon fiber will essentially be right on the pivot. So excellent, really, really good. We'll just bring this one out just to kind of switch it up a little bit and move on here. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive. We'll go ahead and just swap the scale here so I can show you. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use in this channel. So we're actually going to remove the pocket clip first, so that because that's going to be part of it. But your pocket clip screws are T6. I always give that a pass there. I wish that all screws could be T8, but I can understand sometimes pocket clip screws being T6. It's one of those things where once you have the pocket clip where you want it, probably not going to have to mess with it too much unless you're doing like a disassembly, right? Everything else on this knife should be a T8. So that's this one right here. And we have, I wonder if these are, I did this once and now I've forgotten. And the reason is because if you could imagine, the number of videos that I record every day varies. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's, and not release. Remember, my stuff's pre-recorded, so I always have a 2-a-day schedule. But as far as how many I record in a day, sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 4. So as far as I was going to say, this is a quick release system. So not quick release, but you don't have to remove the pivot. So if you want to put the carbon fiber scale on, for example, you just need to remove those 2 body screws, and then you can put this back on. So it's not actually required. Obviously, the pocket clip is something that needs to come off, at least as far as I'm aware. All you have to do to swap the scales out is just remove those 2 body screws, which is very cool. And I want to get this other one on, not only so that we can see it, but so that we can weigh it. I like this a lot. I think that this is a really good way to do this. Just for people who, some people look at this, it's, hardcore, oh, everything has to be serious. They get mad. This is just Lego knives for adult children. All right, well, let them do their thing, and then you can go back to fighting off the terrorist ninja zombie outer space guys with your freaking, your Cold Steel Recon or whatever. You can mind your own business. We're not going to tell you how to go save the world, right? You don't tell us how to go, play Lego knives as an adult, all right? You can just be happy with our existence, and we'll be fine with your existence. We'll just assume that you are the mega ultra super ninja 9000 wizard, and that you're saving the world, right? And then while you're saving the world, the world that we live in, where we have the option to play adult Legos with our pocket knives, we thank you. We salute you. Thank you very much for fighting off all of those terrorists and keeping things serious on your end. Anyways, there's not too many people who act like that. I'm basically just talking to keep everything going while I'm installing these. Just to get the reason, I know you guys are like, oh, you don't have to put the pocket clip back on. I want to get the exact weight. Come on now. You kind of have to guide. The problem is the thing's magnetic. So you really have to have it guided in first. There we go. Because the thing wants to slip off to the side. Oh, I'm sure if people keep doing, I thank you again to Butt Great Blades for doing the compilation of all of the out of context quotes, but I am an infinite source of those, so it won't surprise me if stuff like this ends up on another compilation at some point. But carbon fiber now obviously weighing substantially less. It's very easy to do. It's very simple to do. Your weight now with the carbon fiber, which should be close to the G10, is 2.8 ounces, so a little bit less, 0.3 ounces less than the aluminum there. So we're going to leave that one out just like that, just to have for the rest of the video. Very cool. The purple looks nice with the blue and the gold, actually. It's kind of a neat combination there. That's the magic of it. You can make this look however you want, and it's not going to break the bank. Usually customization like this is expensive. And it's still, it's not like, $30. It's still $30 or $60 or whatever. But it's so much less than even a lot of the cheapest options out there for customization. And you're not just carrying like a colorful toy. You're carrying a pretty serious folding tool, It's nice. Even switching out, I'm not going to switch out the buttons, but you do have all of these different anodization options for the buttons as well. All right. Anyways, moving on here, let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness real quick. I own 3 of these, so I'm going to give 2 of them away and keep one, the one that I've been using. So the overall blade thickness is 108. Yeah, 108 thousandths. Not super thick. All right, meat and potatoes time. Factory edge on this guy, pretty darn good. Very slicey. Very ready. I'm literally just pushing into the paper. I'm not coming at it at the optimized slice angle. Whoops, I caught it there. But just straight into the paper, we'll slice it. If you catch the choil, it's probably gonna, my voice is cracking. Puberty. Going through puberty as a 38-year-old man. Sorry about that. I apologize. Really nice though. Obviously it's gonna depend on what you're cutting, but really blade shape is pretty optimized for just general purpose EDC. Wonderful ergonomics as well. Really nice. The jimping is super functional. The complement to the index finger position is phenomenal. You can do your draw cuts, lots of slicing belly. Really nice. Just really, really nice. Your closed position stop pin is actually deep into the choil there, nowhere near your plunge grind, which you can see right there. I think that's going to make a lot of people happy. So that's nice. really good look. Like I said, Miguron does a good job of keeping all of their crap off of the blade. So you've got the Miguron logo there. Love how the button looks. Really nice. Chamfered edges. Obviously, the fit and finish all the way around is really good. That's something I, have been saying is so good about Miguron, is even though they were hitting some of those numbers a little low, their quality control is so much better. There's plenty of companies out there who make a decent pocket knife for $25 to $35. Not really anybody who's making them on the same level as Miguron in terms of fit and finish. And anybody who's handled a lot of that stuff will tell you the same thing. Some companies are kind of capable of doing it. Most of them is kind of that ho-hum kind of Amazon quality, right? I bought a bunch of nice Amazon knives for like 20, 25 bucks, and some of them were hot crap, and some of them were okay, right? Some were all right. Migron's still better, right? I mean, like, there's a noticeable difference there. So the fact that they're able to do that and heat treat their blades, to higher HRC, right? I'm gonna try and refrain from using the word properly, because when it comes to D2, pretty much anything from 60 to 63 is going to be, in my opinion, optimal. So preferences are, but D2, much like M390, should not be at 59 or back. Like, it's been acceptable, especially at the $35 territory. I've just been kind of like, all right, I mean, what am I going to expect? What am I going to do when I'm going to ask one of these companies to harden D2 to 62 to 63? That's crazy. Nobody's going to do that, right? So yeah, I've just been accepting it, and it's been fine. Assuming some of these companies maybe were hitting it from 59 to 61. That's kind of what I hoped in my head, and I thought that's probably not true. They're probably mostly hitting it at 59 and back. So now we have this new thing to point to. Not necessarily a standard, but companies cannot say, oh, we can't do that, or we have to charge you this. No, you don't. Not if it's made in China, right? Now, you can't point to American companies and say, Miguron make this knife for $35. You have to do it too. No. If they're making it in the United States, it's totally different. And not just because feelings, but because factually their costs are substantially higher. So please do not run off to some American, just be like, you guys should be able to do this for this because Miguron did. No. We're talking specifically about Chinese companies making budget knives. They can do this. They can. Right? Especially when we're trying to, sell them in mass. Like, that's how they're making money. They're not trying to make a killing off of each one. They're trying to, make money like selling a ton of them at a time, which makes way more sense. So anyways, blade shape, pretty cool. Honestly, kind of a unique blade shape. It's nice. A good way to really attract attention to this sort of, this introduction to their new protocols, right? Something it might be a polarizing aesthetic, but this is the type of thing that you want to use to hold up and say, look at this, right? Because it doesn't just look like another folding steak knife. So that's good. Love it or hate it. I mean, that's probably the right move here. But the end result is an ergonomic design that's got a good utilitarian blade shape. Not much of a tip, but that's okay, right? Looks good. Stonewash finish. Your edges back here, it's got a little bit of additional detail work. We can kind of see it a little bit more in the titanium. Looks good. I love the blue to purple. That's nice. Everything appears to be, machined just excellent. You can see the internal milling there for weight reduction and to house the liner lock. Pocket clip does have a Loch Ness Monster bow, which I don't love. I wish it would just end right there, but truth be told, it works just fine. It's the same thing I say about the Civivi. This is kind of a B- clip, but it works just fine. Most importantly, it can be mounted over here for left-handed people. So lefties, you can enjoy this almost the same way, other than the fact that you're going to have to use your index finger here. And when you're choking up, squeezing as hard as you can will disengage that lock because you're right on top of the button. If you're right-handed, for the most part, unless you're really choking up, which you can get the button to fall between your fingers, you don't have the same type of problem, right? So just be mindful of that, left-handed people. You can get the pocket clip where you want it, but you need to watch out for that button. There is no real lanyard hole. You could probably shove smaller paracord through one of these holes here if you wanted to, but that's up to you. Liner lock, I love the little lip there. That's nice. They give you access to it. It's nice and easy to engage with. Once you get it past that detent ball, no double clutch or anything like that, just really nice. Stop pin's located in its traditional position with a little bit of shouldering. No blade play, up, down, left, or right. No lock stick, no pivot lash. Smooth and consistent in here. Click into the closed position. I probably need to adjust the pivot a little bit. Can we do that? Let's do that real quick. Right there. No, did I lose my bit? There it is. It's over here. Just got to put stuff back. Got to put stuff back where it goes. Probably removing the scales and changing the body screws can alter your blade centering slightly. So it may be that you need to adjust the body screws, which we can do. Try to demonstrate. One of them I'm not going to have access to, right? But adjusting your body screws, and you can, oftentimes I'll use the paper trick just because it's easier to keep things held down. Every time I do this, someone's like, you're bending the blade. No, you're not bending the blade. Light torque on a driver and some paper is not enough to bend your blade or any of the components on the inside. I'm sure I could apply enough force to do that, but no, a piece of paper and some light torque with a driver is not going to do that. So what we're doing is we're going to force this over to one side. I'm just going to check this here. It's not something that's required or even something that's, definitely going to happen. But you want to get that pivot down first and then tighten the body screws. And sometimes you have to do this in a particular order and sometimes you don't, right? You just got to mess with it a little bit. We're going to tighten all these down, not too tight. I'm just going to get them tight. We're going to pull that piece of paper out. That's pretty good right there, but we still need to loosen the pivot a little bit. I could probably go a little tighter. That's a little bit too tight. Micro adjustments here. We want to get it to where I can still, there we go. How are we on centering? Yeah, might still be a little bit off. I might have to mess with this just a little bit. So the act of switching out the scales in some cases might actually bring the centering off. This one here, the other one that has not been adjusted, appears to be perfectly centered. So they will arrive to you centered. But if you switch the scales out, it might be the case that you have to adjust your body screws, right? I can get this tightened down and obviously get the blade perfectly centered, but as we are right now, it's just, it's really, really close there, guys. It's really close. I'm gonna say pass, right? If that bothers you, then obviously take that into consideration when you buy these. Maybe swapping the scales will do that, but for 36, 37, whatever this ends up as, or 60 for the titanium, right? 58 or 57 or so for the carbon fiber. My God, what a deal. I don't know that I've ever seen dollar for dollar, better options. This is not only one of the greatest, if not, it's legitimately, it depends on your preferences, right? There's still different reasons to buy different knives or pay more for certain knives, especially if you don't like D2. D2's not quite stainless, right? But this is one of the best dollar for dollar knives that has ever existed. Certainly, I should have waited to do my, greatest of all time budget knife video, because this would easily have kicked off. It would easily be up there with the Raccoon and the Porcupine, the Remet button operated WD-107. This is right there. The difference is that this costs half. It's half. It's crazy, and you have way more options. Not going to be the knife that's the best looking to a lot of people, but I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. I think Miguron's going to release a whole army of stuff like this. I expect them to just take over the budget knife game, and they should be pretty aggressive about it, because I'd like some other companies to start competing. Now, obviously, if you were to switch out this blade with 14C28N, obviously the price is going to go up. We've seen Miguron use 14C28N and release it for about $45. So I'm really interested to see what they do with that. I think they can easily compete and blow the competition away at about $50. Let's say they do the same thing here, but they do 14C28N and they hit that number a little higher than they have been, and they release it for $50 or hell, even 55. Geez, that's still some of the best that you could ask for. It's still beating the competition out. So yeah, that's what I expect to see. This is amazing. I recommend this knife to everybody. It is likely the best deal that you can find out there, especially if you want to customize your knife. Miguron did something truly special here, and it should be celebrated. It should be talked about. Everybody should try this knife out. It is so inexpensive that it's going to fit with pretty much everybody's budget. Amazing knife, easy to manipulate, safe, reliable, high quality materials. Check, 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 check. Wonderful. This is going to go in my Cheap Knives I Like playlist. It's going to go in my Recommended Knives playlist, and it's going to go in my Favorite Knives of All Time playlist, simply because there isn't anything else that can compete at the same level as this. It's a combination of things that I have yet to see in over 6,000 uploads on this channel. Even if it's just beating out some things by a little bit, they're doing something that nobody else has really been able to do yet, not at this price. So awesome stuff. A triple category knife is pretty rare on this channel. There are very few knives that are in all three categories or all three playlists. This is one of them. Very cool. Check this link, the link in the description for this knife. That's going to be it from me today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on the Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.